Well, speaking of wasting time, let's do a Coach Red Pill segment for everybody.
We have to.
It's
Coach,
time for the Coach Red Pill update.
May I say one thing real quick? The Coach Red Pill on the Clip channel, it's doing numbers. People love that he's dead. I mean, that he is being memorialized. Okay?
So today, it's crazy. Huge update. Dick Masterson has snaked Ethan Ralph.
Oh, yeah!
This is amazing. This is the last picture. Look at this snakening that Dick Masterson has done to Ralph in his darkest hour. But Dick Masterson says, Tucker, this was the last known picture of Gonzalo Lira before he was arrested by Zelensky's brute squad. Please feel free to share RIP.
And look! It's the inception of the gun!
Oh my goodness!
Dick Masterson knows what he's doing.
Dick Masterson, the slippery snake that he is. But this is really the most iconic moment of Gonzalo's life, isn't it? In the bizarre reality that we live in, Alex Jones is now weighing in on Gonzalo Lira's death. He's doing like a eulogy, a remembrance of Coach Red Pill and all this shit. And listen to the way that he describes him. It's just so funny to me that there are people out there who actually believe Gonzalo was a real journalist, like an actual martyr that was trying to expose the truth, and not an alcoholic old grifting con artist. Red pill grift scammer, like, it's
he was
crazy.
A saint. He was a saint. God damn it.
He was a saint. He's the patron saint of the red pill. Patron saint of grift. You might be right. You might be right, buddy.
Yeah. All right. So here it is. Here's Alex.
Hello, everyone. This is a Facts Hunter, and as you just heard from the guys at the Kino Casino stream, it is mind-blowing to see how many people are trying to make Gonzalo to be something he was not, calling him a martyr and a journalist, when the fact is that he was a very prolific grifter. People, especially those who never knew of Gonzalo Lira before he became a grifter for Russian propaganda, are exploiting his death for clicks. But the fact cannot be erased from the internet. He was a grifter and people knew it long before the war in Ukraine started. And believe me, Gonzalo Lira is in hell right now, burning in the eternal flames along with Osama bin Laden. He was a grifter making over $10,000 a month from the misery of the Ukrainian people. And speaking for myself, I have no problem celebrating his death, because there is plenty of proof in the internet that he was a scumbag. So, in this video, I'm gonna take you along to show you the real Gonzalo Lira, disproving the claims people are making about him. And let me start with one of my favorites, the idea that Gonzalo was a good soul who is now going to heaven for spreading the truth. Just look at these thumbnails. Oh my God! Look at this one, where he's dressed up in white with clouds behind him, making him look as if he was some type of angel. My God! First of all, Gonzalo himself was a man with no conscience, who, according to him, he grew up in a family that did not practice religion. And at 50 years of age, he was an atheist who had no moral compass.
Right. Now, Santa Claus and God, I mean, they're two big white guys with big white beards up in the sky, both of them. I mean, they're practically twins. You see, I myself am an atheist, right? I don't believe in God. I had a lackadaisical kind of Roman Catholic upbringing, and my family was not particularly religious. I was never religious myself, and I just the idea of God was never like a big deal. And so today, as a grown man of 50 or nearly 50, I just don't believe in God, and that's that, right?
It is the lack of morality that helps people become grifters, and to be a profitable grifter, one has to have the natural ability to lie without care or remorse, and to be able to lie with confidence to fool people into thinking that you are their friend. This is why Gonzalo was able to sucker people into following him. Gonzalo Lira developed the ability of lying without hesitation. It just came naturally to him. Just look at him in this stream. The guy was born in Burbank, California in 1968 to a wealthy family. For those of you who might not know, Burbank is a town close to Hollywood where most TV studios have their main offices. And yet, he tells people this simple lie.
I'm just a boomer. I'm just an old man. I'm 50. You know, I remember when I was a young man and they brought electricity to our home. I remember when they brought running water. I remember when I was like 12, 13 and having to spend hours to learn this thing they call the toilet. You know, it's new to me. New technology. What the fuck? You know, don't expect that much from me. Okay?
It was so easy for him to lie. Where does he get off telling people that he remembers when electricity was introduced in Burbank, California, the place where decades earlier episodes of I Love Lucy were being recorded? But people ate up those lies because he told them with a smile. Or how about this other lie, which I have documentation to show for in a court of law?
The field I started in originally, I was a writer. This is my life story. If you want to be bored by it, I was living in Chile, and I went to college when I was 17 to study business administration and economics. Kind of like one of those 5-year Wharton-type programs. And I went twice, and I got kicked out twice because I was basically chasing girls and just partying and just not being a very good student. And so after that.
For those of you who might have not watched the video I made about his early years, Gonzalo told his life story to several Chilean news publications. He told the newspapers that he was kicked out twice from school due to low grades when he tried to get a degree in commercial engineering. One of the newspapers even went as far as to interview people who knew him from one of the 2 schools he was kicked out from. And people told the newspapers that Gonzalo was known for being a loner who had no friends. So when you hear him say that he was kicked out of business school, that's understandable. He didn't want to appear to have a low IQ by admitting that he failed engineering school. But then going as far as to add details to the lie and say that it was a 5-year school and that he was kicked out because he was partying and chasing girls? That is him not just hiding a fact, but building a fake image of him being popular and successful. Only a sociopath would go as far as to lie this easy. But lying alone is not enough to become a prolific grifter. You also have to be able to tell lies with confidence and assertiveness. This is not a skill difficult to attain. This is a skill that can be learned from professional salesmen. For example, here is a demonstration of how to lie with confidence. A small demonstration from Owen Cook, a dating and lifestyle coach who goes by the PUA name Tyler Durden, a name he took from the movie Fight Club.
And so essentially in any social interaction, here's an important principle. In any social interaction, there's one person who is reacting more to the other person than that person is reacting to them. So if I'm speaking with you, what's happening is our unconscious minds are looking to see who is more sure of themselves. And if I'm more sure of myself, then when I say a joke, for example, you might laugh at it even if it's a stupid joke. On the other hand, if you're more sure of yourself, then I'll probably be reacting more to you. So you don't want to be like some crazy person who has no understanding of social cues, but at the same time you want to be centered in your own reality. And then people look to you for authority. But it is a skill. You must learn, if you want to be a leader, to stop pinging off of other people. Don't look to other people for what to do, But then on the flip side, don't be arrogant, you know? Look to other intelligent people who you trust and find out what's going on. But when you listen to them based on the facts, not based on how sure of themselves they look necessarily. Because a lot of the time in business, leadership, they get to that point not necessarily because of hard skills and intelligence, but because they're just good at bullshitting. They're just like, yeah, right? They just they have no filter. They just believe in whatever they say, and then people just go with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me give you an example. Okay, I'll talk about something that I don't know anything about. Okay, I don't know that much about your guys' networks at Cisco. Give me an example of something at Cisco I'd probably know nothing about.
HLD.
HLD. Okay, and what type of thing is that? Just to give a general direction. Just a general thing. And I'm going to tell you all about it. And I'm going to tell you guys what to do with it to get your stock price up. Okay?
This is a document with the high-level design of a network.
Okay, guys, look. We're here to talk about HLD today. Okay? This is a document which is very, very important for this company to get the stock price up. If you guys don't get HLD working immediately, do you know what could happen? A lot of bad stuff, guys. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to take the HLD, and I want you to go to the water fountain. I want you to cover it with water, starting today, okay? Now, once it's covered with water, I want you to take this Coke can right here and pour it on it, and then take it and squeeze the water and the Coke back into the Coke can. All right? Then we're gonna feed it to him. Guys, this is gonna get the stock price up. Does this make sense?
No.
This makes no freaking sense, right? Okay? This makes no sense at all. But the point is that if you're plugged into groupthink, you can hear all sorts of things that make no sense at all. Because the person seems like they know what they're talking about. Well, if you're looking to them to know how to think, you're going to be going a lot of different bad directions.
It was so easy to make up stories. Some people tell me that he helped a lot of young men with his videos. But this is a fact about YouTube. To create content, you don't have to have personal experiences. As I've already shown in one of my previous videos, he made up lies about his life. There are numerous newspaper articles in the National Library of Chile where one can read in Gonzalo's own words how socially incompetent Gonzalo was as a young man. In reality, he didn't have much wisdom to spread. So in order to create content, what he will do is just read some articles and internalize them and then tell them as if they were personal stories.
Who is? There are very few real original thinkers.
Everything's derivative, yeah. Everything's derivative.
Yeah, most of us are recycling stuff that we've heard from other people that we admire. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay?
First of all, there are guys that are in the manosphere right now who have no business being in the manosphere. Coach Red Pill, sorry, you're one of them. You should not be, he is not a representative of what I would say, he's probably definitely a representative of what the manosphere has become, but in no way should be representing the Red Pill whatsoever. Because a lot of these guys, and I hate to gloss myself, but I can name names right now of guys who simply go, use my book, read passages out of my book, claim it's their own, and then build a very successful YouTube channel accordingly.
This fellow right here is George W. Miller, better known as Rollo Tomassi. According to Google, Rollo Tomassi is one of the most prominent voices in the globally growing male-focused online consumption known as the manosphere, as well as one of the godfathers of the intersexual red pill awareness. Rollo is the author of the Rational Male blog, a foundational fixture in the red pill community. Now, Rollo Tomassi criticizes Gonzalo Lira and accuses him of building a career as a dating coach by stealing material from Tomassi's 2013 book, The Rational Man. And Rollo Tomassi was not rambling nonsense. Gonzalo had a long history of jumping from one career to another, chasing a quick buck by being able to lie to people and claiming to have experience in whatever field he was trying to break in. The old fake it till you make it tactic. He did this to make it as an author, a film director, an economist blogger, and now a dating coach. Gonzalo was a grifter through and through, and people with experience could tell. Gonzalo was never honest to his audience. He was always trying to manipulate people for his own convenience. Gonzalo Lira was a mentally disturbed man who had problems adjusting to his environment, and when he started his career as a dating coach YouTuber, he would read other people's lessons but alter the content and twist it to his own flawed mental logic.
Women are like dogs. Now, what do I mean? You have to treat them like you would treat a dog. Firmly. See? A woman does not respond to insecurity. A woman despises insecurity and responds to weakness with a snarl, just like a dog. You ever go up to a dog and you're afraid of the dog, and the dog senses it, and the dog gets up and smells the fear coming off of you and starts barking at you and snarling at you and showing its teeth, and it's pissed off at you and doesn't like you, right? Like a woman. You go up to some, 23-year-old hottie, right? And you're like all insecure and tentative, like, I'm sorry, hi, can I get you a drink? I just want to be friends, please don't bite me. And what's that woman gonna do? She's gonna snarl at you. She's gonna look at you like, ew, creepy, ew, rough, right? That's what she's gonna do, right? You come up to a woman, the same 23-year-old hottie, and like, you're pretty hot, but I don't think that you're in my league. What's she gonna do? She's gonna be like, whoa, who's this guy? She's gonna chill out. She's going to be intrigued by you and relaxed around you, right? Because women are like dogs. See? If you're firm and self-confident, they respond. They get relaxed. See? Just like dogs. You go up to a dog, a big, mean Doberman Pinscher, right? Or whatever, some Germanic, Rottweiler, right? Or a pit bull, You go up to that dog, and you say, hey, don't fuck with me, dog. I'm the human, you're the dog. Sit. The dog's gonna be like, oh, okay. And that dog is gonna sit. And you're gonna scratch its head, scratch it behind its ear, and lo and behold, that dog is gonna roll over and offer his belly to you, and you're just gonna scratch away, and that dog is gonna be, happy as a clam. And you're gonna be happy too, because, you made a friend with this great dog. See, with women, same thing.
But when you listen to them based on the facts, not based on how sure of themselves they look necessarily. Because a lot of the time in business, leadership, they get to that point not necessarily because of hard skills and intelligence, but because they're just good at bullshitting. They're just like, yeah, right? They just walk, they have no filter. They just believe in whatever they say, and then people just go with it. You know what I'm saying?
Coach Red Pill, sorry, you're one of them. You should not be. He is not a representative of what I would say. He's probably definitely a representative of what the Manosphere has become, but in no way should be representing the Red Pill whatsoever.
You fuck a woman really well. I mean, you fuck them in a way that they will remember it, that they are going to be walking around bow-legged for a couple of days. And yeah. And what does this mean? Fuck them good. It means ignoring what they want and simply taking what you want, sexually speaking. Now, I'm not advocating rape or anything like that. I am simply saying that you simply take from a woman what you want, sexually speaking, and make no apologies for it. That's what they want. See? They want a man who is completely confident and self-assured and who simply takes what he wants. It is surprisingly important, that sense that a woman gets that a man can physically overwhelm them. They want that. Read Gone with the Wind. Margaret Mitchell wrote that book, and there's a scene where Rhett Butler ravishes Scarlett O'Hara. And she was angry and blah, 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 but the next morning she was happy as a clam, right? It's the truth. Women need a good fuck, and if you can't provide them with a good fuck, they will find a man who can. All right? Every woman I've ever been with responds extraordinarily well to a almost violent physical encounter. Over the years, lots of people have called me a bastard, and to tell you the truth, I'm proud of it. Yeah, because what is a bastard in this sense? I'm not talking about an illegitimate child, of course. I'm talking about the colloquialism of calling somebody a bastard. Sometimes he's called an asshole, sometimes he's called whatever. Simply put, a bastard is a guy who gets what he wants and is willing to inflict hurt feelings on others in order to get what he wants. Sometimes those hurt feelings can be really, really bad hurt feelings, and sometimes a bastard is willing to inflict actual harm on others in order to get what he wants. That's certainly been the case with me. I mean, I don't have a problem inflicting real harm on others in order to get what I want. Am I proud of this? No. But the fact of the matter is, if I want something and you're in my way, I'm going to try to get you out of my way. And I don't quite see the problem. You cannot be a nice guy and achieve the things that you want out of life. It's just not possible, okay? Well, a nice guy, a decent guy, he is willing to forego his desires in order to appease other people. And I'm not willing to be the nice guy. See, a lot of guys, a lot of men, perhaps you, a lot of men are taught that they should forego their own desires for the sake of others, that they should be a nice guy and let others win. Fuck that noise. Fuck that noise. If you ever are in a situation where somebody says that you should do something in order to be a nice guy, you say no. And they're gonna look at you nasty with daggers in their eyes and call you all kinds of names, and you're an asshole and a bastard and blah, 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 blah. Sure, but who cares about these people, And they say it's a dog-eat world out there, a dog-eat-dog world out there. Fucking A, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And you have to be tough. And yes, sure, of course, when you inflict damage on somebody else, when you inflict hurt feelings or outright hurt on somebody else, yeah, of course you feel bad, but you feel so much better when you achieve what you wanted now, don't you?
People don't know who Gonzalo really was, but they are ready to make him something he is not, just to fit their narrative. But to make sure people understand how much of a scumbag, racist pig Gonzalo was, let me remind you that this guy was convicted of sexual assault by the Committee of Standards at Dartmouth. He was not expelled or arrested because his family has money. He was well over his 20s when he committed that crime. So he was not a kid who made a mistake. And the punishment that he received was just a suspension for 1 year. His classmates, according to Gonzalo's own words, were not happy to have him back on campus. It was an injustice to the victim, but Gonzalo, feeling undignified, wrote a letter right before he graduated. This letter can still be found on the Dartmouth College website. And the worst part is that Gonzalo didn't learn his lesson. And we can tell by the amount of misogynistic videos he made almost 20 years later, when he was hiding his identity from the real world by calling himself Coach Redpill.
Never forget, what a woman says she wants and what she actually wants are two radically distinct things. Okay, I've said this before in a video. That's a fact. The worst, of course, are those fathers. You know, they're at home, they're like good providers and all the rest of it, and they believe the nonsense, the feminist bullshit, and they teach it to their son. Oh man, that guy is going to be a fucking involuntary celibate for the rest of his fucking life, right? Because he's going to grow up to be afraid of women, okay? Because a lot of these men, these fathers who are quote unquote feminists, it's that they're fucking terrified of women, and they teach that fear to their kid. And that's what's going on. Yeah. A guy who's sexually successful, okay? What does he teach his kid? He teaches, oh man, chicks are easy. Don't worry about it, you know? And when the boy, you know, he's 12, 13, he starts going to his first parties, what's that guy gonna tell him? I'll tell you what I'm gonna tell my kid. I'm gonna tell him to tell me everything he did at that party. And then I'm gonna start telling him what he did wrong and what he did right, and how to get the girl that he likes. That's what I'm gonna do, yeah? What is one of these feminist fathers gonna do? Okay, or one of these weak fathers, one of these uxorious fathers who thinks that their wife is all that and more. He's going to say, oh, you have to respect women. You have to respect women and treat them nicely and be a good man. What is a son of a bitch asshole like me gonna teach his kid? I'm gonna teach him, man, oh, this is what you do, guy. You gotta grab her by the hand, pull her away from her group, right? And just say that she's so hot and try to feel her up. That's what you gotta do. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell the kid. And because of this, he's gonna start to, catch on that women aren't these like delicate little fucking flowers. Okay.
Gonzalo was good at pretending to be a man with experience, but the reality is that he was a very insecure man. Pretty soon, his deep insecurities started getting him into drama with other YouTubers. These unnecessary confrontations were a result of something deeper. See, Gonzalo became a dating coach, but he had no experience in the dating scene. He got married to a Ukrainian woman that he met in Germany, and he had 2 kids with her while living in Chile. In October 2016, he moved from Chile to Ukraine with his family, but in January 2017, he abandoned his wife and kids in Ukraine as he moved to UK to start his YouTube career. While living alone in the UK, he cheated on his wife, who found out when the woman Gonzalo was sleeping with called Gonzalo's then wife, asking if it was true that she and Gonzalo had separated. When Gonzalo returned to Ukraine, he no longer had a family to return to. All of this information Gonzalo kept secret from the rest of the world. He was living 2 lives. On YouTube, he was a successful dating and lifestyle coach, while in reality, he was alone with a broken marriage. He was a deadbeat father in a foreign country. Gonzalo's loneliness turned him into an aggressive individual who was giving life lessons to young men on YouTube. But these were hollow pieces of advice from a man who had lost control over his own life. He will claim that he was making videos on YouTube to leave a legacy for his children, while at the same time uploading controversial videos that were incendiary to the point where his 2 channels were demonetized by the platform. And remember, Gonzalo abandoned his family in 2017. In 2018, he had a downfall with another YouTuber called Sargon of Akkad. And get this, Sargon shared some of his messages showing to people the type of liar that Gonzalo was.
So for anyone who doesn't know, there's a small drama channel called Coach Redpill that's being run by a confidence trickster known as Gonzalo Lira, and it's weird that we're enemies. I actually don't know what I've done to incite this man's ire. So earlier today he decided to leak our entire Skype log of chats, which is fine with me, because it means now I can go through these things and show you the kind of person that Coach Redpill actually is. By the way, I'd love to chat again sometime. I enjoyed myself when we met at Leon's. I hope you did too. Best C. You can see he's sucking up to me. It's almost like he has one face in public and one face in private to me. It's weird, isn't it? He says that I'm failing to use the alt-right as shock troops and cannon fodder because I'm being too transparent with what I want. And so I said, well, I have to be honest with them. I mean, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to approach it honestly. And he says, why? All is fair in love and war, mate, lol. And I just replied with, because I'm an honest person. And he says, leaders aren't honest, they use honesty as a tactic, which I think is rather revealing about the coach.
You cannot be a nice guy and achieve the things that you want out of life. It's just not possible, okay? Well, a nice guy, a decent guy, he is willing to forego his desires in order to appease other people. And I'm not willing to be the nice guy.
This man is a charlatan, a con artist, a confidence trickster. I'm not interested in what a known con artist, scammer and confidence trickster has to say about me, what he thinks I knew, and any malfeasance that he thinks I have been involved with. I mean, I don't know whether he's noticed, but I have a successful YouTube career that I have built on the back of being an honest man. I have never taken any money from anyone other than my patrons, or YouTube, obviously. I've never been involved in any of these sort of underground things. I keep my nose clean because I know I have to. And to be honest with you, it feels great. I'm not gonna lie, it feels really good. It feels really, really good to know that I'm the one who's doing the right thing, because I know that a lot of people aren't. Maybe these are people who might want to sort their lives out, especially if, oh, I don't know, they were thinking about leaving a library of videos to their child when their child was older, so the child could see just what their old man was like.
Why do I do these videos? Well, it's a simple question. The reason I do these videos is, well, there are multiple reasons. First of all, they're fun to do. I enjoy making videos. I enjoy, filming. I enjoy doing the whole multicam thing. I think it's fun. So there's that reason, which is the most important. So on the one hand, it's fun for me to do. On the other, you see, as I've said before, I have small children. By the time my kids really need me, especially my son, really needs my advice, I'll either be a doddering old fool or I'll be dead, because my kid is 3 and I'm 50, okay? So what are the odds that I'll make it to the age that he's 33, huh? High or low? I'm guessing low, right? Yeah.
Because you know what? I know that when my son is old enough to watch my YouTube videos, he'll be beaming with pride at his old man. Because I have done nothing wrong, and you know it.
Gonzalo had the nasty habit of using his children to manipulate people and trick his fans into thinking that he was a good father, a father figure that could be trusted and in turn earn their respect. But the truth is that he was a selfish man who cared about his own needs and wants more than his own children. And Gonzalo, to get back at Sargon, made a little video and uploaded it to show off how good he had it in Ukraine, living without his wife and kids, alone as a separated husband, just enjoying his time as a sex tourist.
Look at sexy pose. Sexy pose. Turn around. Work it, baby, work it. Love the camera, love the camera. Come on. Oh, yeah. The audience loves you, baby. The camera loves you.
I'm not gonna lie, it feels really good. It feels really, really good to know that I'm the one who's doing the right thing, because I know that a lot of people aren't. Maybe these are people who might want to sort their lives out, especially if, oh, I don't know, they were thinking about leaving a library of videos to their child when their child was older, so the child could see just what their old man was like. Because you know what? I know that when my son is old enough to watch my YouTube videos, he'll be beaming with pride at his old man. Because I have done nothing wrong, and you know it.
Sargon of Akkad is my friend. He is not a perfect man, nor am I. But when I see you say something like this...
And like the coward that I said that he was, he did not take the decisive actions of a leader. He did not. He acted like a little fucking bitch, because that's what he is. A tubby, fat, cuckolded bitch.
His idea of cuckoldness? Which idea about being a bitch are you arguing, coach?
He acted like a little fucking bitch, because that's what he is. A tubby, fat, cuckolded bitch.
Or is it just another example of you being duplicitous and two-faced to serve your own needs? Now, as a friend of Carl's, I admit I'm a little bit maybe more passionate about this, but you reveal a lot about yourself here. The fact I think we can all say that you are fully comfortable making up entire fabrications. You're fully comfortable presenting complete fiction as fact. You're the type of guy that leaks the private Skype conversation you had with Sargon of Akkad. You're the type of guy who meets Sargon of Akkad in a camera shop, fanboys over him for an hour, and then pretends to be a victim. You're the type of guy who acts like somebody's friend and then stabs him in the back. You're the type of guy I would never associate with. You're a fraud.
Yeah, that wasn't his wife or the mother of his kids. Just a 20-year-something sex worker earning a living from a 50-year-old American Chilean conman. This video is still available in YouTube and in Rumble. It is because of this pattern of behavior that I believe in the accusations made by his ex-wife on the divorce documents that were filed on October of 2021, before the Russian invasion of 2022. Those accusations included abusing his wife and kids, both physically and emotionally, an undisclosed investigation of attempted rape, and the violent assault of his autistic nephew, probably his sister's son. Gonzalo was never honest to his audience. He was always trying to manipulate people for his own convenience. For example, here we have Gonzalo talking about his kids and what it was like to come back home and have the kids cheering when they saw him walk into the door.
As a man of 50, I can say that the greatest satisfactions I've gotten are now with children, the children of my own. It's just enormously satisfying. Everything from the big moments, like when they were born and all the rest of it, to the little moments, I mean, there's nothing lovelier than coming home and I got these two little goblins running up to me and saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, you're home." It's terrific. It gives you such a sense of happiness, right? Because they are truly happy to see me. It's not like, oh God, here he comes. Oh, but we have to be happy to see him. Okay, let's get all the hi. It's not like that at all. They are genuinely happy. They live second to second, moment to moment.
According to his ex-wife, who filed for divorce in December of 2021, Gonzalo has not lived with his family since 2017, the same year his ex-wife received a phone call from Gonzalo's other woman. Gonzalo was lying to his audience to manipulate them. Gonzalo was never honest, not even to the people who were closer to him. Richard Cooper from the YouTube channel Entrepreneurs in Cars talked about his experience talking to Gonzalo and the suspicions he had about Gonzalo's marriage.
I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me. And I knew he had a couple kids. And he was married, I think, to a Ukrainian woman. If I'm not mistaken, I think he said she was an au pair. So she was in childcare or something like that. But I'd often talk to him in Holland, sometimes when he was traveling, but mostly in Ukraine when we had these conversations. And he would never bring up his wife and kids. Sorry, I don't know if he was married, but I think he called her his wife. He obviously had a fondness for his children. If you look at his old studio, you can see pictures of his kids, drawings in the backgrounds. But I don't think he really ever, as far as I ever saw, shared imagery of his wife or his kids. I think he kept that very private. And I asked him once live and once off the air. I said, "So what's going on, with your kids? Like, is everything okay with them? Did you get them out of the country? What's happening with your wife, sort of thing?" And he didn't want to answer it. He went in a totally different direction. He skirted it. He behaved very awkwardly around the subject of, what's going on with your wife and kids? You get to see them, sort of thing. I think he said that he was able to communicate with his kids, but there was no fondness or attachment to his wife. And I've had lots of conversations with guys over the years, both privately and on call-in sessions. And to me, that picked up on me as she had taken the kids and left. So I don't think that they were together for the last few years, which might have led him to the martyrdom, sort of thing. The fuck around, find out, because he had really nothing else to live for at that point. I would imagine if his kids have been removed from his day-to-day life, because I could only imagine, as a father myself, I would want to spend my last days, if I knew I had, last days coming up. Because I know he had some health issues. Apparently he died of pneumonia, double pneumonia in both of his lungs in the prison. He was a very heavy smoker the last few years, because you just see him chain smoking away, through videos. So that's not going to help if you've got health issues. I think he had heart issues. He did confirm it in one video, but it was like a fuck around, find out moment, and I don't get it. The only thing that I can think of is, maybe she just took the kids and left, sort of thing. So he never really talked about any of that stuff publicly. And when I asked him, he would just don't want to talk about that. Even privately, don't want to talk about it. It's not a conversation I want to have. So I found that interesting.
Richard Cooper, who had formed the closest thing one would consider as a friendship with Gonzalo, didn't even know about Gonzalo's divorce, which was information publicly available through the open data bot of Ukraine. He pushed away anybody who tried to help him, but he adopted the flaw mentality, thinking that he was untouchable by the Ukrainian Secret Service because he had Chilean and American dual citizenship. He was making over $100,000 a year, and according to reports, he was in the process of signing a deal with RT News, the Russian state-controlled news network with whom he had ties ever since the early 2000s. His ambition ultimately blinded him and became his downfall. Gonzalo Lira developed a self-destructive personality that could not be swayed from his path of self-annihilation. Years later, after his arrest in Ukraine and eventual death due to complications from pneumonia, the reality of his hidden life began to come up to the surface for everybody to see. Gonzalo was an opportunistic, ruthless conman who thought he could get away with his crimes because of his family's wealth. And now he is dead. His demonic aura, though, still roams the internet. People are using his death to push Russian propaganda by grifters from all corners of the internet. Right now, people in Ukraine are the ones hurting from these grifters who spread lies about Gonzalo, calling him a hero and a journalist. This generation's MLK. But the fact is that Gonzalo left a long digital history that can be found by anybody who might want to know who this dirtbag really was, and why people shouldn't say rest in peace for this piece of dirt. He is in hell, where he belongs. So I say it with a smile on my face. Burn in hell, Gonzalo Lira, you racist, misogynistic liar, piece of poop. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching all the way till the end. This is a Facts Hunter. Bye-bye for now, and take care.